Hi, beautiful people. It's Wonderful Wednesday. I'm April Roll, your ER doctor online, and today's video is to bring awareness about choking on food. Now, the reason that I'm bringing this topic to you is because over the past couple of weeks, I have seen a high, or actually, the frequency has increased in the number of choking cases that I've seen, basically. It's not a rare thing, but it is something very easy to do or, have happen to you if you are not careful. So, on average, it is something very simple to eat food. It is something that we take for granted because when I say something very simple to do, normally the actual mechanism of eating is something that we do not consciously think about. It's not something that we have to figure out how to get the food from entering our mouth down into our bellies. We don't consciously think about anything except let's eat the food, right? But the actual mechanism of the food being in your mouth, chewing the food, protecting your airway, actively swallowing the food, getting it into your esophagus and down to your stomach, that's not something that we are coordinating consciously. Okay, we got other stuff going on up here in our brains that are making that happen, basically. Okay, so people with history of stroke or neuromuscular disorders and things like that, advanced dementia, those people have difficulty sometimes with swallowing depending on what the condition is, and it's not that simple as how I said we take it for granted. So like I said, I've seen recently the number of choking on food cases go high up, at least for myself, with the patients that I've seen. And so I wanted to just put that awareness out there. Usually, when it's happening in someone who previously had no issues with eating food, it's because they were eating and something else happened. So, for instance, you're eating and you're talking or you gasp or something surprised you, and then the food goes down the wrong pipe. It goes down the windpipe and or airway, trachea. It goes down there instead of going into your esophagus, therefore blocking your airway and causing the person to choke. So when the airway is blocked, you're no longer getting oxygen into your lungs, which can eventually lead to respiratory arrest, and respiratory arrest can lead to cardiac arrest. Basically, you can't breathe, you're not getting oxygen, which causes your heart to no longer function, which causes you to go to cardiac arrest, and in worst cases die actually from something that started as you were walkie-talkie healthy, and then now you're having an arrest because you choked. So I just wanted to get the awareness out there. So I talked about, eating and then something else happens, whether that be a shock, a surprise, a fall, you go unresponsive, anything that will alter your level of consciousness, like a seizure or you pass out or anything like that, that interrupts your normal chewing behavior, and you get the food going down the wrong tract, basically. If this happens to anyone that you see it's happening, they're choking, they can't breathe, the first thing that you can do is do the Heimlich maneuver. So if you don't know what that is, you stand behind the person, you make a fist around their body, and you grasp the other fist and you thrust into their abdomen because you're standing behind them. So you thrust into their abdomen, right under their rib cage, and you thrust in an upward and towards yourself motion, so that in the person, that thrust is going from basically their abdomen up. And the idea is you're creating some pressure that hopefully will come up through the trachea to force the food bolus, or chunk of food, or whatever you want to call it, um, out of the trachea so that the person can then breathe. Obviously, you want to call 911 if anyone is choking and they're not breathing, turning blue, whatever the case may be. You want to call 911, because the other thing that can happen with choking, even if you get the chunk of food out of the airway, some of the food particles and or pieces, or maybe even a tiny chunk, can go down into the airway, and we call that aspiration. Aspiration is when something that was meant to be eaten or not get into the trachea is goes into the lungs and gets stuck there, right? That's an aspiration. And aspiration of food or other substances can lead to pneumonia, and that's a whole other thing that can get you into respiratory distress or worsening infection, sepsis, and death. So choking overall is a very dangerous thing and can lead to bad outcomes, but it's also something that can be easily prevented, and it's something that can potentially be easily treated. Now, if there is a very large food chunk stuck in the airway, that's obviously going to be harder to deal with. But like I said, that's why I'm making this video for you, because I've just seen a bunch of it lately. And what you want to do, if this happens to you or anyone you know, spread the word about choking, and how actually simple it is to choke on food. We take the mechanism of eating for granted. So I just urge you, try not to talk while you're chewing your food. Try not to be laughing or tripping or falling, or doing sports or whatever the case is when you're eating your food. And I just wanted to put that out there, because any kind of motion or whatever the case may be can cause some of those particles to go down the airway, block the airway, and cause a choking event that could be fatal. And like I said, it's totally preventable. It is something that is totally preventable. So please share this video with anybody you know. If you have any questions about anything that I've said in this video, put those in the comment section below. If you like this video, like the video, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and you can get more content like this, more important information and awareness about medical conditions and how to keep yourself and your friends, your loved ones safe and healthy. If you have any recommendations for future Wonderful Wednesdays videos, please put that in the description box below. If you, like I said, any questions, any comments, any concerns, put those in the comment section below. Thank you for sharing this Wonderful Wednesday with me. Be blessed and stay healthy.